Well, hello. It's a bit different, but today I am going to be the one interviewing, which is very strange and novel for me, but it's very exciting at the same time. So today we are with our lovely co-founder, Claire Clements. Hello, Claire.
Hi there, Morgan.
How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you, and just delighted that you're the one interviewing me today.
Believe it. The pleasure's all mine, trust me. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do outside of Positively Empowered Kids? You know, because you have your own branch of a business, and how you sort of got into that.
Yeah, sure. So my other business is Positive Pants, and it is underwear to start your day in a positive way.
Yeah.
That's the strapline. It's all about positive mindset for children and for families. And that is my main passion. I found that when I was growing up, I didn't have access to kind of tools
Yeah.
or products, and part of that was obviously the time. Social media wasn't a rife at that point.
Mhm.
But I really struggled to kind of cope with things, and the only way for me was to actually go to counselling. And I mean, I'm someone who's been in counselling, had lots of different therapies over the years, um, and just struggled to find the right thing for me. And so I kind of decided that was something that I really wanted to help the future generations with.
Yeah. I think that's a really. I think it's important to have your own personal motivation to drive your own business forward. If you see what I mean.
100%. I think if I wasn't as passionate about it, and there are many times as a small business owner when you could easily kind of give up. And I think you really need that passion in your heart to keep actually driving you forward.
Yeah.
When I'm kind of talking to children and I'm getting feedback from the results of either the products that I have, which I'll tell you about in a while, or the workshops, it kind of just warms me up and it makes me go, right, even if I've just helped one child, then it's been worth it. And now I've kind of changed that mindset a bit because kind of things are moving forward.
Mhm.
And I'm now like, I just want to help as many children as possible because I know that I can, and I know that it's needed.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's such an original idea, but it's also so strange that no one's ever thought of it before because it's such a valuable sort of piece. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was how I came across it, to be honest. I used to make these little photo books, all the little inspirational quotes that you get on Facebook or whatever. I always save them. I've got hundreds of Pinterest boards with them all on. Um, and I'm very much a visual learner. I love all my visualizations. I teach vision boards as well. I do visualization meditations. That's kind of my thing. It's all about being, the kind of being seen. And so what I did was I created little photo books for myself when I was low so that I could refer back to all these positive quotes. And then having a daughter, I then made some for her that were kind of more children friendly quotes that were kind of, like images with simple words on.
Yeah.
And one of the quotes that I found was put your positive pants on. And I absolutely loved it. And when I showed other mums, they loved it too. And she loved it, most importantly. But there were adults that were going, God, I wish I had a pair of positive pants. And it was literally just one of those light bulb moments that was like, oh my God, why do they not exist? And it just went from there. So I've got a pair here actually. I'll show you my pants. Um, so I've got them for children. So these are the little girls ones. They're
Oh,
like little cute little shorts.
yeah.
Um, they've all got the put your positive pants on the back. And the great thing about these are, so I've got this one, you might not be able to see too clearly, but the unicorn, it says, I can do it. So they've all got positive affirmations on them. So the boys, they've got little dinosaur that says, I am brave. And the idea is they get a certificate with them, a certificate of positivity, saying that they've put on their positive pants this morning. And the idea is that, when they're kind of waking up and not feeling great, or, they're just feeling just in one of those moods, where you want a duvet day or
Yeah.
whatever it might be, that you put your positive pants on, and it acts as an anchor to just kind of boost your mood, boost your mindset, make you feel like a superhero, make you feel like, actually, I can do this, I've got this. And the lovely thing is for the kids is that other people don't need to know that they're having this worry. So they can wear them at school, and none of the other children need to know that they're worried about something or that they're trying to get through something. It's something that's personal to them and that they can just remember throughout the day. So, you know, for something very simple, there's a lot of power behind them.
Yeah, I think that's such a timeless but so effective. It's almost like we're on QVC showing us all the products. Do you mind if I ask you, as a mum, as you mentioned earlier, do you think becoming a mum changed the way you not only treat your sort of work ethic and building your business since, but change the way you sort of treat yourself and treat your family? How do you think it changed you becoming a mum?
It's really interesting. And there's probably some really, really deep answers that I could talk about for a long while. So I'll try and keep it a little bit lighter. But I mean, it does change you. It is an absolutely life-changing thing. You know, you think you fall in love with someone and you love that person, you know, so much. It's the only, you know, the biggest love you ever have, until you have a child. And that isn't the case for everybody, I must say. You know, some people do struggle with the attachment issues and things, but for me, the kind of overwhelming love, and you know, suddenly you've got this little tiny human that you've created, and you suddenly see the world in a very different light. You do start to notice some of the, you know, the more negative things and how that's going to impact your child. And for me, as I say, it was more about, how is that going to affect her? Because I know that, you know, you're always going to get bumps in the road. You're always going to have things that don't go your way. And I just wanted to make sure that she knew that there were ways of dealing with that, rather than going through what I went through with my depression, with my mental health. I have a whole host of invisible illnesses, which I think have all kind of come about because of me not dealing with my depression and mental health early on. So the kind of importance of that, you know, I got postnatal depression as well, and because of issues in my childhood with my father leaving and things, when I was a baby, you know, it's all just had a massive impact and just built on this picture to build, you know, what I'm now so passionate about, really.
Yeah, I suppose everything that happened to you, all your experiences, all your losses and gains, but not necessarily good gains, they sort of build up and mount to, well, who you are today, don't they? They make you as a person. That's what makes you so much more of an individual and stand out more than everyone else. And that's obviously the underlying, you know, unconscious motivation for your business and your positive world that you're creating alongside Jackie.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, your weaknesses, you can turn them into your strengths.
Yeah.
And like you say, you know, that's what makes me, you know, very well placed when I work with children through Positive Pants. I run workshops, and they're just fantastic. And one of the things that, one of the reasons I feel that works really well is because of what I've gone through, because of what I've learned, and you know, because I've gone through so many different, you know, therapies and counsellors and different ways of doing things, and holistic stuff. So through my Reiki and my meditations, you know, I've just learned so many tools, and there is so much out there for adults. And I'm really pleased to say now that there's a lot more out there for children, but it has taken its time to catch up. So what I did was actually turn all the learnings that I'd gone through in my adult life, particularly over the past few years, and actually thought, how can I apply that to children? So I run workshops for kids. So I do one-to-one and group sessions, and they're all online at the moment, obviously. And I take to them, and this is usually children from about 5 to 11. I go into, well, when it was in person in their house, I would take a big suitcase full of arts and crafts and activities and breathing balls and worry dolls and monsters and looking around for inspiration. My mood cards, all the book, I've got piles of books here next to me. And the great thing about that is it was very much child-led. So I would speak to the child about how they were feeling. Obviously, I would have had a little consultation with the parent before.
Yeah.
And then kind of just watch them open up. Sort of, I'm very intuitive to kind of what it is they need. And, you know, they might be drawn to, say, I don't know, like the mood cards, for example. And so knowing what I know about what they're going through, I then come up with activities, and most of it is very, say, a lot of it is on the spot. No two sessions are ever the same because every child needs just something different. And we work to kind of find the tools and the breathing mechanisms and activities that can help them to learn that it's okay to talk about it, whatever it is that's going on in their life, that they can trust people, that they can be open and honest, but actually that they can do that while having fun. And I think that's the thing with the Positive Pants branding. You know, automatically it's not serious, it's not kind of, you know, the kind of real mental health stigma type of things. It's actually going, this is fun, you know, a pair of pants are going to make you laugh straight away. And how can we kind of turn that to get the children to really start to learn about themselves and communicate that?
Yeah. I think one of the most important things that I've realised quite recently is you never really, when you think you've found who you are and when you think you've found yourself, you don't actually know whether you have or not, and you sort of never do, because when you think about it, your favourite movie may not have been scripted yet, and your favourite singer might not have been born yet, and so you're never actually going to know whether you are complete in a way. And I think what you're saying really resonates with me, because you are giving children more and more tools, and as you keep going, you'll be giving different generations more and more tools, and as a world, we will grow to develop a sort of a human personality and a human ethic of looking at the world and looking at ourselves. I think it's really important to recognise.
That's a really, really lovely sentiment. I remember I worked in a boarding school in Essex for 10 years as a registrar, and I was house mistress for the summer school. An experience I absolutely loved. I had no idea how any of that fitted in with what I'm doing now. But when I look back, like I like doing my drama and singing. I was never brave enough to be right at the front, but I was always involved. I did media studies, never saw how any of that fitted in. And now here I am kind of, working with children and the wellbeing side of things. I'm very much, I'm co-host of a radio show. I'm doing sort of lots of YouTube interviews. So I'm kind of, all the different elements have built, and that's going to change and evolve as well. This is not now where I am now is where I'm going to be staying. It will be with Positive Pants and with Positively Empowered Kids, but that is going to evolve. And I remember when I used to show families around at the boarding school, and we used to talk about all the different departments and all the different subjects that there were. And the realization that actually some of these children that we were showing around, the jobs that they were going to do in the future hadn't even been invented yet, which is exactly what you're saying. And it's like, just work towards the feeling of what you want to be and your morals and values, because, it is going to change. When people talk about professions, they say, I don't know, a doctor, a nurse, a dancer, a journalist, or an actor, or whatever it might be. But how many different shades are there between all of those things?
Yeah,
it's just limitless.
The world's always growing, and we can't predict what will happen next. And I think the current situation with COVID-19 and everything is really, there's nothing better to show us that, really, is there?
No,
very quickly before we go, speaking of lockdown and all things that are happening right now, what do you think, because obviously your life is sort of for children and the young generation, what do you think the biggest thing to come out of this, good or bad, it's up to you, from lockdown? What do you think the biggest sort of consequence will be?
It's interesting because there's many, and for me personally, I'm actually just seeing the gifts that this has all given us. I'm lucky in that I haven't personally been affected, in terms of I haven't had someone pass away, as a result of this. Luckily, I know there's many people out there that have, but what I'm noticing in my work and the people that are contacting me, is obviously just that increased anxiety for people. And it's not just the children, it's the parents. And obviously the children are feeding off of the parents' worries. I do worry about them all going back to school. And again, for me, issues that happened to me when I was 3 years old have been suppressed and only just played out, a few years ago. And I just kind of, I'm concerned for those children that haven't got ways of actually letting it out now, or ways that they can kind of talk about it, which is why we've obviously Positively Empowered Kids as well. We're just trying to be out there for as many people, and like you say, it might be just that child needs a hug and some reassurance. It might be that they need a service like mine, a pair of pants, or that they might want some online sessions, or it might be that they do need some more in-depth therapy. And yeah, for me, I just hope that everyone stays as they have been, being a bit kinder to each other, a slower pace of life, just stop and just be grateful and appreciate everything that's around you, and help your children to do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are feeling like they've had the rug torn from under their feet and everything's been stripped away. But so, as you're saying, sometimes you've got to stop and think, well, it makes me realise how much I had in the first place. How much I had to be taken away. And yeah, it'll come back and it might take its time to come back. But when it does, you'll never take it for granted again. So I think there's something quite valuable in that.
I think so. And I think, this is almost the right time for my business to be around with Positively Empowered Kids. And that's not, in terms of, being pleased about what's kind of going on in the world, but actually turning that around and going, actually, I'm really proud that we've created something that can actually help people at this time. And, that's what we want to continue to do.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming, and hopefully we'll see you and hear from you on Facebook and such very, very soon.
Indeed.
Bye, Claire.
Bye, thank you.